as yet. But have no fear, I'm gonna get there. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one knows me none, so everything is fine, fine. I say I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine while I take you down the poetic line. Cause we campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and they ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause it sounded so good to me. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain. But you now refrain, you now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we never know yellow would treat us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame. Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. All your projects are stuck in a pipeline, but when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place, and a few disgruntled green people with their vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger throughout Grenada. 1,000 Frenchmen can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong. So why not send them advisors home? They're sucking money like water and foam. and rehire the Imanis. Less stress on the economy. You are Manchester, hold up the country. You don't see us down on the bureau when they send SSU to between. Trick us with campaign promises. We won't say it is. That's the way it is.
And a good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'm here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
So we've heard about you in...
It's now 7 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
I said to the party, and will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned.
And of course, we're saying a special good night to those of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM.
But you guys...
Broadcasting out of beautiful St. Patrick.
It's a long time, Grenada.
If only you take a look outside. That moon looking nice, you know. Yeah. That moon looking real nice.
The way it is, we've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you'll not refrain. You'll not refrain. You remember in the Bible, God had a plan for Jonah to restore Nineveh. But who will restore Grenada? Is it the same Jonah? Lots of doubt.
No, let's take that one from the top, you know. Sometimes we just had to take we song from right at the top. All right, nice.
This is not politics. Please don't forget. I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm gonna get there.
So let me start with some special good nights. Mish Alexander, good night to you. Antonito, good night, bro. And let me see, Lucky, good night. And Dr. Panchu, good night. Oh, Dr. Panchu, I know I've been bad. Denise, yeah, good night to you. Shawnell, Peter, Ingrid, Dana Abraham, good night. All right. Cicely, Jocelyn, Shemaine, Linda, Imelda, Francois. Good night to all of you. Seeing all of you jumping in under the live there. Let me see. Dwight, good night to you. Let me see over on the YouTube. Jillian and Marilyn, Wilfred, Oswald, Gloria, Stefan, Cynthia, Afi, Agnes, Bernadette, Matthew, Kathleen, Saralyn, Adrian, Wilfred, Beavis, Faithlyn, Deborah, Michelle, Wilfred, the other Michelle, Listra, Christine, Faithlyn Halley, good night to you. Anna Barbara, good night. Gertrude Abraham, good night to you as well. And Kathleen, I'm seeing Kathleen and Anne Jonesy, what's up, bro? And Deborah, good night to you. Shrajan, I see like you was in the first one in tonight. And Anne-Marie Celestine, good night to you as well. Yeah, let me, hey, Joyce. Joyce, I just had to make sure I watch over on the WhatsApp, you know, because I know if I miss that good night from you, I'm in problems. Good night to you as well, Miss Kiami. All right, we hope you're taking the rest. I didn't get to come in town today, so I don't know if you was down or if you stayed home and take the rest, but we hope that you're resting up, huh? Right, so a special good night to you. Yeah, Mommy George, good night to you. Martin and Miss V down there in down in the Limes, good night to you. Yeah, good night to both of my good friends there, Martin and his lovely wife. Also, yeah, saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Crookshank, I ain't fine hear from all you or see all you for a long while, Mr. and Mrs. Crookshank. All right, nice. Good night to both of you as well. All right, so I'm saying a special good night to you. You see, I had to say Cathy on aside. Cathy's a kind of person. So Cathy, Albert, special good night to you. If you reach late and you miss it this time, I cannot be blamed. Nice.
That's the way it is. We've waited.
So folks, just waiting for the numbers to reach to that magic number so that we could begin the program in earnest.
Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what?
Dominic, good night to you. Wolfgang, Wallen, Marilyn, yeah, good night to you.
To allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we never know yellow would have treated us so.
Veronica and Cynthia, I've not forgotten you all as well. Good night to you.
Won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain. But
yeah, that moon look nice outside. Yeah. That moon look nice. Yeah.
They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame.
Alright, if you give the present administration a chance, they will say the reason you're seeing the moon so nice is because of them.
Economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession.
They will take credit for the moon if they get a chance.
Every man.
Anisha, good night to you and your mom. Natalia, I haven't seen you on yet, but I'm sure that you and your mom and your dad, I'm sure you all are locked in. Sharon, good night to you.
Strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. All your projects are stuck in a pipeline. But when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it.
So folks, yeah, I'm going to look at the post cab today, so we have to discuss the post cab. Now, I've been trying, and let me just make that announcement now. I have been trying to get the WhatsApp line working, but for whatever reason, maybe I need to change out one of the cables or probably the audio input. But I am having a problem with the WhatsApp line, so I'm not getting the WhatsApp calls. We will try during the program to see if we get a caller using the WhatsApp. But I am having a problem on the WhatsApp line. So for now, we'll have to take the straight calls tonight.
Refrain, you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting.
Jillian, where you come out? Where's Wendy? Yeah, where's Wendy McGuire? I'm not seeing her.
Can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong.
And hi, Cindy.
So why not send them advisors home? They're sucking money like water and foam. And rehire the Imanis. Less stress on the economy. You are Manchester, hold up the country.
All right, so yeah, I hit the magic number I was looking for. So a glorious Grenadian good Tuesday night to each and every one of you. And again, as Talking Points told you would happen and has happened, there has been the cabinet shuffle. Right? If it's a reshuffle, a shuffle, some kind of thing, but people move. All right, so we are seeing the situation where the present Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, well, he was the Minister of Finance. He's acting as Minister of Finance right now because apparently the portfolio change took place since last week, Friday, apparently, and was not announced to you, the Grenadian people, through any official means. Yeah? So apparently them men, no, because when you make, when you have a cabinet reshuffle, what happens is that whoever is taking over what portfolio, they must go down to the Governor General and they must sign into that new portfolio, even if you're doing it temporarily. For instance, if a minister is stepping out of Ireland, you can't have the ministry without a minister. Therefore, another minister, they may be a senator, they may be a full minister, parliamentary representative, that person can then, they are asked to go down to the Governor General. There's a selection, they decide, well, yes, this person will hold that portfolio for the 3 days that individual A or B is out, or the week that individual A or B is out, this individual will hold that portfolio. Now, from listening to the Prime Minister this morning, it means that Mr. Cornwall has already been sworn in. And I'm wondering why they're trying to keep those kind of things kind of quiet. Why not tell the Grenadian people, like, listen, they've had the press conference this morning. Up to now, I don't think, let me check, because I don't like to just make wild statements. Yeah, there's still not a release from the government of Grenada announcing the change, the portfolio change. And I mean, this is, in my view, this is necessary. I was looking for the latest issue of the Government Gazette, and let me just check, because between when I leave home and I come here, next thing it's been published, because portfolio changes ought to be published in the Gazette as well. And I'm not seeing it in the Gazette as of Friday. Friday's Gazette, no, I'm only seeing one. That's there, the Senator, the Honorable David Andrew. It is therefore a point here. So Ron Redhead is standing in as Minister of Education, etc., 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 etc. So I was trying to see if that has been gazetted. And as I say, there is a certain way that you do these things, and it is not being followed, in my view. I just think it's a case of anything goes right now, just do things as you feel. But there are some things that I know we have to discuss. We have to discuss tonight. So call a friend to call a friend and tell a friend that Talking Points is on. They need to tune in, all right?
You say Liberation Day.
Let me say a special good night to all the listeners out there in Brooklyn. Yes, the thousands of you out there in Brooklyn listening via 94.9 FM, or who are tuned in via We Noise Radio or on our site talkingpointsgrenada.com. I know that you all are listening. We're saying a special good night to you all out there. And those of you in North America in general, whether you're in Canada, Calgary or wherever you are, Alberta in Canada, wherever you are, we say a special good night to you.
Bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with camp.
And we're about to see the fortnightly payments. But as I've already said, I believe that the Prime Minister has handed that hot potato over to somebody else for them to drop. Because I can't buy into the story that the Prime Minister has done so well in the Ministry of Finance. One of the most important, if not the most important ministry, because if your Ministry of Finance fails, your country becomes a failed state, you know. That means that you can't get the money you're supposed to put into healthcare. And we already have problems taking place with healthcare now. Every story I hear now of people who have gone to the general hospital, spent time there, have come out of the general hospital and were unable to get medication. Yeah, or doctors are prescribing medication for people, and then when the time comes for the medication to be given to them, being told by the nurses, etc., that medication, there's none of it. Yeah. Even for things like high blood pressure and so on, people have had to been buying that medication. Yeah, and I would think that considering, as I was listening to a medical doctor speaking recently online, a Jamaican doctor, I can't remember his name, saying that it seems as though there's a factory fault when it comes to us in the Caribbean, when it comes to things like high blood pressure and diabetes and so on. So you'd expect that any ministry of health within the Caribbean would ensure that there are things like medication for high blood pressure, medication for diabetes, that they are readily available to the general public. But it seems as though, as I say, anything goes, it seems, yeah.
Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe.
Hey, let me say a special good night to Mr. Francis Pierre, because I'll say something here. I listen to On Target on Real FM. He's also on YouTube. I listen to On Target nearly every day. As long as I have the time or I'm in the position to listen to it, sometimes I try to listen to it afterwards and so. And the person who has been calling for the Prime Minister to remove the Minister of Finance, ever since that debacle with the 150 being removed from the most poor and vulnerable among us, has been Mr. Francis Pierre. He has been calling on the Prime Minister to fire himself. And Mr. Francis Pierre, you get through. Yeah? The Prime Minister finally listened to you. So he has fired himself as the Minister of Finance. And he take a St. Patrick man and he put in the position. Because we know what you want to do is that you want to, you're looking to make the St. Patrick man take the fall. Anything go wrong now, you're going to say, hey, when I had the Ministry of Finance, everything was going nice. And well, everything wasn't going nice. But when I had the Ministry of Finance, everything was going nice. We handed it over to you and your brother. Your brother there already. But we handed it over to you. And now look what happened. You understand? People can't get paid. Yeah? We're not meeting our projected targets. Whether it's in customs or it's in whichever department, we're not reaching our IRD. We're not reaching our projected targets. We're falling below our targets. Yeah? So you'll hear it. Because he's setting him up. Mr. Dennis Cornwall is being set up. We know that. You understand that because we understand what's taking place here. There are other things we'll get to in a little while that are taking place that I think we need to understand are taking place here. Right? But there are other things taking place. But the main one is that Mr. Cornwall is being used as the sacrificial lamb. He's being used as the disposable MP. In other words, we could do without that one. Because there is, first, no intention of having him return as a candidate on behalf of the NDC, from the political leader side now. They're looking to run Mr. Cornwall again. They're looking to run Mr. Cornwall. They're looking to run him again. They're looking to run him. Right? So you put him in that position, knowing full well what is going on, for instance, in relation to CBI, citizenship by investment, internationally, and that you will soon see a problem where the amount of revenue that's expected, unless you want to just grab every and anybody, the revenue expected under CBI may not be realized because you realize that CBI is under attack. So be it from the US, and you know they had the forum where they told them, hey, you can't be taking any Russians and things. So I think as of Friday, last week Friday, they are no longer allowed to have Russians applying. Russians and I think Belarusians are not allowed to apply under the CBI program here in Grenada. So they try and grab. I'm sure it's going to be interesting to see a report on the CBI program for the first quarter, the first 3 months of 2023, and to see the countries that those people who have been successful under the CBI program, to see where the majority of those people came from. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a sizable number coming from Russia and possibly Belarus, but more Russia. We're going to see a sizable number of people coming from there. Yeah? So it will be very interesting. I'm waiting with bated breath because I really want to see the CBI report for the first 3 months, because remember, the Prime Minister went to St. Lucia to that CBI forum that was put on by the US government together with the countries in the Caribbean that have CBI programs. The Americans won't tell you, hey, we're going to impose sanctions on you if you keep your CBI program and take people from Russia and so on. But they'll gently persuade you that it might be in the best interest of the island of Grenada, economically and otherwise, if you sort of dissuade people from the state of Russia and Belarus from applying under your CBI program. That's a nice way of saying, hey, tell them people and them don't come. Yeah? So that is what has taken place. And then even after coming back from that forum and making the announcement, we saw in the government gazette that a Russian company was allowed, they were accredited to be a CBI agent for Grenada. We saw that was gazetted, and we did bring that to your attention on Talking Points. We did let you know that that is what is taking place. So now we know when it comes to the CBI programs, and we're seeing the closure. Some countries have closed down their CBI unit. They are no longer taking people under CBI. Some countries are reviewing what they are doing under CBI and starting to wind down operations, knowing full well that the possibility that citizenship by investment programs may not survive past the next 5 years if it lasts that long. Yeah? Remember when offshore banking was a big thing? There was nothing necessarily wrong with offshore banking, but, Canada was losing a lot of money. The United States and the European countries were losing a lot of money. Yeah? North America, United States of America, they were losing a lot of money because instead of banking over there and being subject to the taxes over there, people were coming out from those places and banking in places like Grenada and so on. And then you saw what happened to the offshore banking sector when various pressures were applied, because the American government wouldn't sit down there and realize that, hey, $4 and $5 billion leaving our economy and coming down to the Caribbean in offshore banks there, and we can't tax it. So pressure was applied. We saw what happened to offshore banking. And similarly, we're seeing what is happening with citizenship by investment. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing that's happening with citizenship by investment. So we have to pay attention to these things. Yeah, we must pay attention to these things.
This is not politics. Please don't forget. I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm gonna get there. I'm not in the...
Yeah, don't worry. It's not the transformation water that I'm drinking. Or the phone lines are open, 440-7377. You can feel free to call at any time. 347-329-3101 for those of you out there in the Grenadian diaspora. Yeah, so we can take your calls.
Obligation. No one knows me none, so everything is fine.
So yeah, I honestly believe. In fact, you know what? Let's play a song. We will play a song for Mr. Yeah, we will play a song for Mr. Cromwell. Congratulations on your new position here.
In the dance all are wailing anywhere in this country. In the dance all are whining anywhere in this country. Drunk and balling up one, drunk and balling up one.
Yeah, man, congrats.
Drunk and balling up one.
And we have a caller online. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Auntie Myrna, how are you?
Hi, Daisy.
All right,
I
beautiful.
don't hear you at all.
You're not hearing me?
No, not on the
dear.
radio.
Oh, you mean otherwise?
Eh?
Outsider when we talk, we have to talk again, because you did tell me something and I was looking into that.
I say, you had to give me a call.
No, but we did speak and you told me something, so I was looking into that before I call you back.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking into it for you before I give you a call back.
Okay. But I don't hear you again.
No, because I still didn't get the information I was looking for yet.
Okay then.
All right, my dear?
Yeah, but otherwise you good?
I'm always good.
Well, I in the Ministry of Finance thing go walk out.
Let me see.
For St. Patrick, East and West.
When last all you see all your MP?
Yes. But I holding on.
All right, my dear.
Never give up.
Of course, we don't.
Right.
All right, my dear.
Have a blessed night.
Same to you. You know, I listened carefully when the Prime Minister was speaking today. And in fact, when he was asked the question, why that change right now, and he fumbled a bit and then he started to say that you have to give different ministers an opportunity to feel what it's like to be in different ministries and all of that. I'm calling BS on that. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm calling BS on that. I tend to try and because you haven't spent a good 9 months in the position yet. You haven't spent a good 9 months. Yeah? Between conception and you're giving up the position already. You understand? It's like the father you want to hang around for when the child born. So you have the situation where next week, it was a campaign promise of the NDC that they will be paying fortnightly. They are proceeding with it. Let's see if it works out. Listen, and let's just get this clear, because I think lots of people try to give the impression that the New National Party is against things, or people like myself who are supporters of the New National Party are against things just for being against its sake. I'm not against fortnightly payments. I just do not think that it would work in the way that they believe it will work. I don't believe that the situation is going to be improved for people. It is not a situation where individual A is working for $1,500 and they're going to be getting $1,500 every fortnight. That is not the situation as far as I understand it. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe instead of giving you that salary once a month, they are giving you that salary twice a month. Because I can't understand how it's expected that that's going to be beneficial to many people. For those within the public sector, you all really don't have a choice in it, and I think that should have been given to the average person. That people should have been given the opportunity to choose whether or not they want their money on a fortnightly basis or they want it on a monthly basis. I think that the opportunity should have been given to people instead of it just being forced down everybody's throat. Tut mun bagay. Everybody. Just force it down everybody's throat. I think that individuals who are working within the public service, it may have taken an additional month or two if you had gone that route, because now you just put everybody payroll, right? Payroll, we're paying this time and we're paying that time. But I believe that individuals should have been given the opportunity, because the temptation is there. Even if you decide that yes, they're paying fortnightly, but I'm not taking my salary till the end of the month, the temptation is there. And not everybody could deal with the temptation to say, well, I know that I have half of my salary there and I'm going to leave it until the end of the month to do what I need to do. This affects a lot more than just the financial institutions. And I heard the permanent secretary speaking about the financial institutions, but there's a lot more that is affected outside of this. And we have a caller online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Good night, Talking Points crew. I listened to the press conference today, and I was rather shocked to hear certain things I was hearing. And a few of them actually stick out to me. One, the loss of the government for the last 6 months when they get the cap on the freight. Two, the minister of MIT, when he talk about they have a problem getting monies for projects, but they have a problem getting people to implement them. Three, the explanation of this fortnight pay and how the peers try to explain it and try to spin it. And the same concern you have is the same concern I have. I worked for years being paid fortnight. And I understand how the business work or the bank work when you're paying fortnight. So if the campaign promise was to pay money by the fortnight and people believe that your salary was doubling, that is probably deception already. That is their problem. And then there was another question concerning the water and toilet and how much people have pit latrine in Grenada, and he was given, Minister Andy was given precise numbers. And it looms like if the NMP was there for all these years intermittently and they caused all these people to be there and they was there existing like all these years. For instance, somebody will build up a board structure, and they don't have the money to build up a proper bathroom and toilet with concrete. So they will actually use or build what we call a pit latrine or outhouse. That doesn't mean that the government knew about it at the time.
My brother,
So
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I know of some people, I ain't gonna call no specific area, but I know of people who have their house rebuilt, they have proper bathroom and toilet, and force a habit, these people still have an outhouse, you know. They still go and put an outhouse, they're still going and use the outhouse, because I tend to think it's one of the things that, and I've said that over the years, that I believe that that's one of the things that we need to eradicate. The New National Party has had a program for several years moving towards the eradication of that. But there are some people that, believe me, they're really just not interested in having that, you know. They're not interested. They have a proper bathroom and toilet with running water and so on, and they just still want to have the outhouse there. I'm not saying that that's the majority of people, no way. I ain't giving the impression that that's the majority of people. But there are some people like that.
Right. So, I mean, those issues that I see for myself today, well, I listen to them, and like clearly, you can clearly see the resentment. These three ministers, well, the two ministers, the Prime Minister and Andy and the Permanent Secretary, but prior to that, they had the little thing with Dr. Charles there, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that these people feel that we are not listening to what they are saying, and they feel what they're doing. People are not paying attention. Shalon, I look online today, and somebody actually saying, so what's the big deal with Deacon Mitchell, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Finance, giving Honorable Cornwall the portfolio? Tillman Thomas did it. When in Grenada, Tillman Thomas was Minister of Finance?
Tillman Thomas was never the Minister of Finance from day one of the NDC administration, July.
These kind of things that you're reading online with people that support, strong supporters of the NDC, and these are the kind of information they put in it. I had a big laugh this morning. I had to laugh when I saw it. When Tillman Thomas was Minister of Finance, and that's the kind of misinformation that they have, and they're running with, and they're hearing from people, and my God, Good luck to doing that, but have a good night, man.
Okay, I'll say it when you're gone, but one of the things that we need to remember here are that some of the individuals that the NDC is using as the online Tuntun Makut, the online vagabond squad, yeah? These individuals are so young that they actually first-time voters, and so they take a bunch of young people and they tell them just go and give trouble on the internet. These young people don't even know what took place during the Tillman Thomas administration, you know. And that is because we, as parents, as brothers, as uncles, as sisters, and so on, all of us, we did not take the time to explain to them what happened to our country between 2008 and 2013. What's the biggest achievement of the NDC administration between 2008 and 2013? Breaking up and mashing up. And when people like the Honorable Peter David was talking to them and trying to guide them in the right direction, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen. And while they were doing all that shenanigans and that nonsense, the average person out here was catching the royal. That is what happened between 2008 and 2013. They have no major achievement to show for that period of time. As much as they would like you to think so, but there's no major achievement to show for that period of time. Yeah? They gave up houses. They refused to build the National Stadium. All of these things is what was taking place during that period of time. And it's unfortunate, it's very, very unfortunate that many of us have not taken the time to explain to those first-time voters, because I'll warn you all of this, I'll warn you all of this. By the end of this year, you're going to have at least 1,000 to 2,000 new voters, people of voting age that added to the list again. And by next year, it's going to be about 4,000. Yeah? 4,000 young people could change the direction of an election. You all better start speaking to them. Yeah? We have a caller online. Good night.
Sheldon, good night.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
All right.
The PS made a statement today regarding persons with the loan and the fortnightly payment.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm receiving a monthly salary of $3,000, and I have a loan of $1,200, if I'm being paid fortnightly, it means that I'll be getting $1,500 for fortnight.
Yeah.
My loan remains $1,200 with the financial institution.
Right.
So if I'm getting $1,500 and no arrangement is made with the financial institution as it relates to payment, one, it's either $600 is being taken off that $1,500 fortnightly, or they take the $1,200 the fortnightly. Okay? But I heard the PS is saying that if you have a loan with a financial institution and being paid fortnightly, it means that you would pay your loan faster. Your loan will be paid faster. I don't understand.
That's absolute nonsense.
I don't understand that.
That's absolute nonsense, and he knows it. He knows that's nonsense.
I don't understand how he could be letting people know you're receiving a fortnightly allowance, a fortnightly salary, and your loan would be paid off faster. That could never happen. That would never happen. Because if you're paying, if the bank is taking half of the loan with half of your salary, it would be half this fortnight, half next fortnight.
Yeah.
So I don't see why he should be telling people that.
Let me explain something to you. In certain circumstances with certain financial institutions, when they half reaching on the fortnight, they're going to lock it in.
Exactly.
They're not going to allow you. You're getting it on the half. It will be there. It will be on your account on the 15th.
It will be
but
on the account.
you won't have access to it.
You would not be able to touch it.
Because they know that they have to take out their loan payment by a particular date. So they're going to lock that payment inside there until the end of the month. So at the end of the day, it's still like you're getting paid on a monthly basis.
Exactly.
This is
So
what
when
some
you
of the
get paid that
financial institutions
fortnightly,
will do.
The bank would put a lien on that money.
Yeah, then you can't touch it.
Waiting for the next fortnight to ensure that they have everything.
Because okay, you owe an institution, you have 24 months to pay. You're paying 600 a month. Let's say you're paying the 1200 a month then. Right? But you're paying it 600 each month. It's still 1200 a month to pay.
It's still 12.
It's
so
still
how
the same
would you
amount.
repay that loan at a faster time?
No, I would agree with him on the statement that he made in relation to your interest payments on smaller payments would end up being less, but only in circumstances where you're paying on a declining interest. In other words, you have your principal amount that you're paying, the amount that you borrow, then you have the interest on that. Now, the interest, some loans, not all, some loans, I know some of the credit unions do it like that, is when you're paying it off, they don't set a specific interest rate on the total amount, but they set the interest rate on the amount that is remaining, on the declining amount. So it means because you're making two payments amount, your interest payments will increase in frequency, and as such, the declining amount, you will pay less on the interest. Not by much, but you'll pay less on the interest. But you have to understand, even in that situation, I've known people that went and try and pay off a loan already, and they give the financial institution the money. You know what the financial institution do? They hold the money there, and every month they're taking out piece,
Exactly. And the only how somebody is able to pay off that loan faster is if they're paying outside of the required amount.
Of course.
Okay, that's only how they'll be able to repay that loan faster. So you have to pay $1,200 a month. The bank get the $1,200 from your salary, and you pay an additional $300 outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's only how you'd pay that loan faster. So, Mr. PS, tell the persons who have loaned with the institution something better. Thank you, Sheldon.
Right, my dear. No, and I think the caller is right. In a situation where you're paying your loan off and the interest is on declining balance, yes, I do believe that if you increase the frequency of your payments, instead, for instance, you have 12 months to pay, and instead of making 12 payments, you're making 24, then I do see it affecting the declining interest. But most loans that people have, the interest is not on the declining balance. And you have to understand something here. Let's all be realistic here. And again, I am not saying things because I'm just looking for bad thing to say about what they're doing. We're looking at the reality of the situation, because if some people want to live on cloud 9, 10, 11, and 12, that's their business. I want to live in reality, and I'm sure you do as well. Now, which financial institution with a board of directors to answer to is going to put themselves in a situation where they are due to lose millions of dollars? Which one of them? They have a board of directors to answer to. In fact, remember, some of these financial institutions are not answering to board of directors or to a local body, they're answering to a regional or international body. So you think that they are going to say, okay, government is paying fortnightly, so we're going to do things in a way that they're going to have less interest payments and so on. No. In some instances, in some of these institutions, when your money comes in on the fortnightly basis and you have a significant loan inside there, they're going to hold it until the end of the month, put the two together, pay it, and then give you the remainder. So, yes, they have spoken, and if we didn't talk about it on Talking Points for the last couple of weeks, they would have never come and make that a specific point that they had to address tonight. Thank you, Mr. PS. We know you're listening. Right? They would have never make that a specific point to address that they have spoken to the financial institutions. We asked the question. We are glad that you have given us an answer, and we thank you for that. But you still have other situations. What about the people who have their rent payment? You think the landlord wants some of the money on the 15th and some on the end of the month? Come on, I didn't know some of them landlords. That breaking up their stuff. Because now you're putting the landlord into a position that they now have to go and renegotiate with the financial institution that we're paying you in two parts. Yeah, so they as well have to go and renegotiate. I believe that this should have been optional. That the people who are being paid through the government of Grenada should have been given the option of whether you want to receive your salary fortnightly or whether you want to receive your salary on a monthly basis. And then to say that you're going to be doing training and financial literacy training is basically after the house done burn is when the fire truck reach. Because you've started the process, you've already put everything in place to make the first payment by next week Friday, not this Friday, and this Friday is Good Friday. Next week Friday, which is a Good Friday. So next week Friday, you've made the announcement you're going to pay by the 14th. But now you decide, after you've decided that's when you're going to pay, you're going to do financial literacy training. So you don't think, and then for those who want it, don't you think that that should have been something that you're working with along with the Public Workers Union and the other unions representing public workers in relation to financial literacy, doing some programs via GIS, the internet, and so on, getting some literature to these individuals. We know you don't want to print paper, but at least have things that you could send around so that you could have educated the people within the public service. And therefore, instead of trying to push it for next weekend, because you know it's a big show next weekend, you want to say, well, yeah, we had thing to do with that, yeah, right. So instead of trying to push it for then, that you took the interests of these workers into consideration and extended the period, and then you could have even done it in June and say, well, okay, we're starting in June, the anniversary of the election, we're doing it in June. Yeah? But you took that space of time to get people to understand how to handle their money, that they could have spoken to their landlord or other creditors, other people that they owe. Yeah? That we're going to pay you by that particular time. We're going to pay you by time A, we're going to pay you by time B. And also, the utilities. Have you spoken with Grenlec and Nawasa and Flow, etc., of how they're going to cope with this new payment method that you're going to have thousands of people, over 5,000 people are going to be paid in this manner now, and it's going to affect them as well as to how they're receiving money, right? So all of these have to be taken into consideration, but the statement that people are going to repay their loans for is absolute nonsense. Come on, yeah, get serious. In fact, yeah, let's hear. Okay, let's hear what this caller has to say. Hello, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Good night, my dear.
Sheldon.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a pensioner.
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon, nobody don't call me and tell me about this thing that going on there with we pension.
Well, let me tell you, before you go further, somebody sent a note to me today. I don't know what I did with it, that they are asking the pensioners to joining on Zoom. Pensioners, eh?
Well,
yeah, pensioners to joining on a Zoom meeting on Thursday.
Zoom. I can't go on Zoom. I don't know about Zoom. I can't go on. Lots of the old people and them. You have a lot of old people. They don't have a phone. They don't know about Zoom. They can't go into the meeting. They can't go because they know about Zoom. They don't know nothing about Zoom. So I don't see how they could tell people go in on Zoom. I can't go on Zoom. I don't know about Zoom.
But I'm telling you that is what I saw. And I saw that for, I believe it's this Thursday. And I would have thought that they would have reached out to you all as pensioners via various means. I didn't even see that come into my email.
So why
and I'm on the government mailing list.
All the pensioners in a meeting and ask them, right, if they want the monthly, if they want it half thing.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't expect a person in the late 60s, 70s to just change.
So the majority stand. But what people know about Zoom, I don't know about Zoom. I can't go any meeting.
All right, me dear. Me dear do zoom in. She do the 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And I'm trying to find that. You see that thing? I can't remember who sent it to me, but whoever sent it to me, assure that you're listening, send it to me again. Yeah, so it go end up at the top of my timeline. You see, the thing is, I've been literally getting like thousands of messages. Yeah, no, not hundreds and thousands of messages on a daily basis. And someone sent it to me this afternoon. So whoever it is, I am pretty sure that you're listening. Send it to me again, please. Because I'm still trying to understand this whole thing. Let's hear Let me just set this up here. This one, yeah. So let's hear what the PS had to say in relation to you paying your loans faster. Tell me if this makes, tell me if to you the statement makes much sense.
In our discussions with respect to how the banks and the credit unions will treat with those payments, they have indicated that they have been reaching out to their customers in terms of providing options on how they pay the mortgages. And as Prime Minister mentioned, there is the option to pay your mortgage on a twice monthly basis. So basically, instead of having to pay 12 payments per year, you can pay 24 payments, and of course that allows you to be able to pay down your mortgage or your loan faster, and of course there are interest benefits to that. They have also indicated that there will be flexibility for persons to be able to access the resources much faster, and so there is that option of either doing the monthly or doing the twice monthly, and so we are very happy about that with respect to persons who had fears or have concerns about how they will be able to meet their commitments. They can do so without fear.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to wonder if you have to pay $20,000 over 24 months and you are receiving the same salary on a monthly basis, it's just that it's cut in two. How does that reduce your payment period? How does that reduce the amount that you have to pay? I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm no economist, so I'm no maybe somebody who's an economist could give me a call and we could have a discussion on that one. Maybe they can teach me something. But I ain't buying that one. I'm telling you. I ain't buying that one. All right? Yeah, because there are other things. It's not just the bank and them, you know. And yes, he says that the banks and them say that, come on, which bank is going to do anything that's because if their interest payments are declining, if, for instance, if you go to pay off a loan totally right now, you've got a loan and you go to pay it off totally right now, so you go with all the money and you'll suffer a penalty. Yeah. It's not going to be a situation that you just pay off the amount that you have. You're going to end up with a penalty that you end up having to pay as well, because you're paying it off early. So they know that they're going to be losing money on the interest. So that cash flow, yes, I could understand cash flow increase and that kind of thing. Being able to handle that increase in cash flow is another story. I don't know how many people might be able to handle that. I think we have a caller. No, I'm still having a problem with the WhatsApp. Let me just identify that. I'm trying to see if I get a call here, but it doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, I'm still having a problem when it comes to the WhatsApp. Caller might have to call me directly because I'm still having a problem with the WhatsApp. We have a caller online. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Did the people announce that they're paying twice? They're paying half of the salary or the whole salary? Did they announce that? How they paying the salary?
No, they said that they are paying the salary twice monthly. But
yeah, but that was saying, but they did not tell you if it's half a salary or they paying twice a month with your whole salary.
Well, that's what I want to know, because it would mean, and that would have had to be reflected in the last budget, because it would have meant that everybody salary increased by 100%. Your salary double.
This is what we have to find out, because I mean I don't understand what Shipman is.
No, but it would have been reflected in the budget document that was in there in December.
Check themselves and say if is the whole they're paying twice a month or half of the salary. They didn't say half, they didn't say the whole. But they say they're paying twice a month. So I want to find out what is if they could relate something to us to know what's going on, because a lot of people know a lot of things, but we don't know how they're paying the money. And I find that the Shipman is just twice a month thing, and this kind of the bank, this and the bank, I don't think them are interactive.
I won't go as far as to say it's stupidness. What I would say is that I think a lot more thought needed to be put into it, and a longer period for the implementation, instead of trying to rush it to say that, look, we do this and we achieve this because we do it in this space at time. It's just being able to say that we do it in a space at time, and then you see the Prime Minister handing over the ministry just at the cusp of this happening. So it's like was a rush to get it done, before the Prime Minister washes hands of the ministry.
Yeah, because I don't understand what it's really about, because this one last thing you just say last month you say all your contact in the bank. Now you're saying the bank this, and I believe it's a whole set of Mickey Mouse in this money thing. And I'm listening to see and I'm watching to see what's going on. You have a good night. You talk when you finish the program. Give me a call, please. Thanks.
Okay, my brother. All right. 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Let me see if I could fix one thing here. Let me see if I can fix one thing. And we have a call online. Good night.
Yeah, Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, well, I know the credit union does that. A riser credit union. It was Grenada Public Service Credit Union before.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go for a loan based on your salary, right? You ask for a long term because you can't meet the amount of years. If it's 3, 4, 5 years, but so you ask for a long term, they might give you 7, 8 years, right? So the most of the interest is going on the loan, and that little bit, the remaining balance, you get it. So what will happen? What will happen between there now? Okay. I don't understand the shit that they're putting people into.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I catch what you're saying. I didn't look at it from that perspective, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. All right, my dear. Yeah. So again, we're not saying that it can't work. We're saying that a bit more thought had to go into it instead of rushing to do it for political reasons. Because I just want to say that we made that as a campaign promise and we keep it. Yeah. So they rushed into it, not understanding the consequences otherwise. Yeah. Because whether it's $800 a month or $400 a fortnight, you still have the same spending power. It doesn't change your spending power. Whether you have $3,000 a month or $1,500 a fortnight, it does not change your spending power. Because you could only spend what you could spend. So that doesn't change the spending power of the individual. Yes, it gives the individual more cash over an extended period of time. But you're speaking here about many people who already have situations where they are indebted to different agencies and so on. For instance, Grenlec, you have to pay them by a particular time. Yeah? How does paying on a fortnightly basis, so where at the end of the month, the individual usually had X amount of money, now has a reduced amount at the end of the month, how does that affect their ability to handle the bills at the point in time that they usually handle the bills? So all of these things have to be looked at. Again, you have people that are renting. They are accustomed going to the landlord on the end of the month and they pay them. All right? Now, with the salary that they're going to be receiving in two parts, are they going to go to the landlord and say whole half? And then some landlords, they want it. They wouldn't take it. Yeah, they may be interested in getting the full thing at the end of the month. And then I'm still trying to see how the financial institutions will allow themselves to lose. Because if you look at the loan portfolios of many of these financial institutions in Grenada, whether it be First Caribbean, Cooperative Bank, Republic Bank, Ariza, Grenville Credit Union, Communal Credit Union, River Sally Credit Union, wherever, when you look at the loan portfolios of these institutions, they're into the hundreds of millions, isn't it? So if you look at the loan portfolio, probably when it comes to people within the public service, it is into the millions. And if you're talking about interest on that alone is into the millions. So you're telling me that these credit unions who have a board of directors and members that they have to answer to, that these financial institutions, like Republic Bank, that not even answering to people here, they're answering to people down Trinidad or wherever. First Caribbean, that answering to people wherever, not necessarily people here. And so that all of these financial institutions are going to simply agree with the government that, hey, you're paying in a half month and we're going to give a little blight to people so they pay us less? Come on, really? Truly? Yeah. Yeah, is we die here? Really and truly? Yeah? They have this intrinsic sense of camaraderie and patriotism that they are just going to give up millions of dollars in interest payments. Not the principal amounts, but millions of dollars in interest payments. And just say, well, that is how we go? No. They're going to lock your money in on the 15th and wait until the end of the month to give you. That is what they're going to do some of the people. So we have to understand that. That is exactly what is going to take place. All right? One individual has messaged me there saying, good night, Sheldon. When I pay my loan before time, I had to pay more. When I ask why, they said, I choose to pay before time because the bank will not lose. Yeah. Run fast, run and come away. Run fast, run and come away. Yeah, I do believe a significant amount of education needed to be done. Someone else is saying a lot of education in this bi-monthly payment has to be done prior to implementing this. Well, it's too late now. They're implementing it. They've already done the paperwork because they have to pay by next week. Then there might be additional charges from financial institutions because standing orders will have to come into play. So there's a lot that has to be considered. Now, according to the PS and the Ministry of Finance, the banks and the financial institutions, I don't know if it's all of them or some of them, have said that they are going to forego any additional charges that people are going to be having because they're having money placed into their account on an increased frequency, that they are not going to increase charges on that, or they are not going to apply charges in a way that's going to cause these people to end up in problems. Let me see. And yeah. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. 440-7377. Another interesting one, and I want to play that one for you. Another interesting pullout from this morning's press conference. You see, we told them they need to have press conference and they started just listening. Yeah, they does listen to us, yeah. So another interesting one this morning was this statement by the Prime Minister. So let me just get, I need to play this for you. I want you all to hear this statement from the Prime Minister this morning.
As you would recall, as part of our measures to address the cost of living, the government had agreed from October 1, 2022 to cap the freight rates charged at the port by the Customs Department to 2019 levels. That's the pre-COVID-19 levels, in an attempt to alleviate the impact of the external cost of inflation driven by significant increases in freight rates. That initial fiscal measure was for 6 months and would have expired as of Friday, the 31st of March. The government has reviewed the report from the Ministry of Finance and from the Customs Department and have analyzed the measure that was taken. The measure was always intended to be temporary. We are satisfied that freight rates are beginning to normalize and are getting closer to pre-COVID levels of 2019. And in the circumstances, the government has taken the decision not to continue with the capping of the freight rates at 2019 levels. So effective as of the 1st of April 2023, freight would be calculated on the current market freight rates. I should indicate that as a result of this measure adopted by the government, the government essentially forewent revenue of approximately $5 million. We want to extend our gratitude to the importers who would have passed on the reduced freight rates as a result of the government measure to our consumers. We note from the analysis coming from the Custom Department that two of the goods which were significantly impacted by the capping of the freight rates was the cost of cement and the cost of imported chicken. And obviously cement is fundamental to the construction industry, and so the construction industry in particular ought to have benefited from that. And all of us who consume imported chicken, chicken being a favorite meat product of our citizens, would also have benefited from that.
Yeah, so a few takeouts here. One, the Prime Minister said that Grenada, the government of Grenada, or basically all of us, right? We gave up $5 million due to the reduction in the cost of freight to the 2019 level. And I'm going to come back to the phone lines in a little while. Yeah, that the government gave up $5 million in the last 6 months or so. They gave up $5 million by placing the freight rate back at the 2019 level. My good friends, have you all benefited from that? Because number one, your country lost from it. You. That's your money. You've lost now $5 million. That's gone by the move that was made to pull the freight costs down to the 2019 level. Now, it says on construction equipment, cement and chicken and so on. Have you all seen lower prices anywhere? I mean, I'm asking. Did you all see chicken price go down? Or I don't know, I'm asking. Or did you see the price of foodstuff in the supermarket go down in the last 6 months? Or have you seen it actually head in the other direction? Yeah? I need to ask that question. Have we benefited as individuals, or have the only people to benefit that $5 million? Did it go to you and me? Whether I get 50 cents and you get 50 cents and everybody else get 50 cents, and we could say, yes, we get that 50 cents out of that $5 million. Did you and me and the average person out there, did we all benefit from this, or was it only the businesses that benefited? Yeah? Was it only the businesses that benefited out of the entire thing, or did we all benefit in some way? And I think we have a caller on the WhatsApp. Hello, good night. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good night. Good night. Now, when I tune in, it was just, I realized I was so engrossed in a domino game that I realized I was losing the program up to about 8:30.
Okay, no
then
problem.
I tune in. Having to move across at the same time, I listened to a bit. Then I had to take a call or make a call, another call, or deal with another issue. And I end up, by that time, listening to you talking more about the bank and the loan issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'll address that a little bit, but I'm glad you end up coming up with that whole issue about the what you just did there anyway. My mind is working so fast that maybe I'm reeling over the issues. I listen to the even though I'm at work, right? I do construction, I do building.
Yeah.
But I was in and about. I ended up putting on the phone because I listen on my phone. And I ended up putting on the phone for a while when expecting to get the press conference started just after 10. They came a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
So when I left the phone, I didn't hear the beginning of the press conference. But by the time I came back in the building and listened, I start getting what actually is going on. So there are aspects of what you're dealing with now that I want to address more than I will address the part where the banks are having or the banks could have a problem, and the repayment and so on. So let me address that first, and remind me to what to address afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What you are just dealing with there? What is the part that you're just dealing with?
No, I've just been speaking about the freight costs being reduced for the last 6 months to the 2019 level, and due to that,
I want you to remind me that I have to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
This morning I dealt with that to an extent on another program, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just the aspect you're just dealing with. But I want to deal with that bank thing for a while, because I think there's a misperception based on how you are dealing with that program, that part of it, and to the extent that people understand that situation. And it's not a case where you are wrong, or the government, or the prime minister, or the permanent secretary is wrong. I don't think there is a wrong thing about that. What I think there is a problem with is that how the banks have been dealing with people, to the extent that there need to be an adjustment. And if given that the adjustment is an agreement between the bank and the government, they need, or we will now have, a placement of equilibrium. And that's where the problem is. The bank has been creating a confusion in the financial situation that people have to deal with every day for the past how much years? Watch me. I had quarrel with bankers. When I say bankers, I go into the bank to deal with my own issues. Up to the point right now, watch me, don't surprise if I get so stupid and do something stupid in a bank.
Nah, don't do that. You're
Relax.
smarter than that. You ain't go down them road there.
Now listen to how stupid the whole thing is. I have shares in the bank, My name is there. I have to present documents that I don't need to for 1 second to identify myself as part of that whole process, That's how dumb the whole thing is. So that maybe, careful with that. This is why I want to address that subject matter in a certain way today.
Yeah, but caller, you're gonna have to do that within 5 minutes, so go ahead. Yeah.
But if the government, right, thank you. If the government was to able to handle that situation where the agreement has been made with the bank, okay, they haven't said that it's an agreement, but to the extent they have a discussion with the bank, and the bank would recognize the need for adjustment, and if the bank now adjusts to, if the government now recognize, and remember that I don't know if you know, that our local brothers, you might say, who to appreciate the manager of the Central Bank, of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Mr. Timothy Antwine, if he, in his address that he made one time, point out to the people that the banks need to adjust the problem, and if the banks now adjust the problem, I have to speak fast, so that's the problem now. If the banks does it, then we have a problem, it's solved. We're in the process now that the government is dealing with that same issue. The bank has been the obnoxious one, not all the monetary situation that we have to deal with. So, okay, let me forget that for a while. If you get the gist I'm getting at.
Yeah, I understand.
Here is the problem with that. Remind me of what I said. We're talking about the freight rate issue. I did that this morning. I'm a shopping person. I go and watch me. I could tell you the difference between one price, in market A, or the area A, area B, area Z, whatever. I could tell you all the price. And I meet women, especially. I'm a shopper, and I live by myself, right? I don't have a wife, whatever. So I do my shopping by myself. I'm a cheap person. Cheapo is my name. And when I go into market A, or supermarket A, or whatever, I could tell you that price there. I could go in another supermarket and tell a lady or whoever I meet, if you go in that other supermarket there, if you go in this other one, if you go in this other one, if you go in this other one, what you will get? The price and whatever. So I'm monitoring this thing all the time. And all these months, I've never seen reflected in the prices what the government is talking about.
So who benefit from the $5 million? Because
the big business, they thief with money. That's the point.
No. Let's be careful. They didn't thief it, They were given it and told, hey, give it back to the people.
Well, they get it. But hello, who pays the piper?
Of course.
Who the tune, because the big business had to get what was given to them in the election process. That's a fact. I'm taking part in party thing. That's what happened there. If people don't understand it, I know that's what happened to an extent in my own analysis. The big business got back their money that was they gave to the NDC party. I don't care one crap about party power. Big business gave money to the damn NDC party. They got it back in that same because prices have been going up, never stop. That's a fact.
So, and now that they've removed the 2019 level, what could we expect to happen to the prices? Because they say that was the buffer in it. That is what was supposed to be saving us. And it was still going up. So what going on happen now? All right.
It is going up and nothing changed. And I shouldn't say nothing. Things get worse. And they have no money to pay all this half month salary.
Caller,
let me tell you something.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to call back again before the program is over. The phone line just keep flashing in my face. I want to take some of the other calls, but I'll give you the opportunity to call back closer to the end of the program. All right? Hello? Yeah, I'm giving you the opportunity. Make sure you can call back. All right? Okay.
I am there.
All right. Thank you. All right.
I'm there.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and that is the thing, because the caller referred to something there, that one of the main problem is the bank, and he's actually correct. One of the main problems there are the banks, because he spoke of it there. I remember Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, speaking of the predatory nature of the banking system in the Caribbean region. That the banking system is not geared towards creating wealth among Caribbean people. It is not. It is geared towards sucking as much money out of Caribbean people as possible, but it is not geared towards helping the Caribbean people to improve their lives. Yeah? When you see, you get, imagine now, you're getting $150 $100 in a bank account, and then when you go to collect it, you're getting $75. Come on, man. Seriously. Really and truly. Because that's what happened to some of the people who was under seed and that kind of thing. We have another caller. Hello, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night, good night.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm quite fine. You go right ahead.
All right. Sheldon, I just want to give a little insight here and something that I know that is for a fact. Now, people who is working, let's just say for $22,000 a month. Now, whether they have a long-term loan or a short-term loan, now, when you break up that money, let's just say that they are receiving every 15th day in the month, and every end of the month they're receiving $1,000. Now, it becomes a little more difficult for these ones to manage the money, because when you get $2,000 at the end of the month, you're paying a loan of $500 a month. You have electricity, water, some has internet, then some have food to buy. Some have children to send to school. It means that the equation, the balance equation, will be a lot less. It will be very difficult for these ones to manage the whole hog of the monthly wage bill in two parts, paid in two parts. So in other words, you have to balance $1,000 for groceries, electricity part paid, water part paid, loan part paid, internet part paid, school children part paid. So you're going to tell the bus drivers, we could only give you half or quarter of the month wage bill for the child to go to school. It becomes more difficult. And a good old economist told me one time, it will be easier to manage 1 month's payment than twice month payment, because it becomes a lot smaller. That's my contribution tonight.
All right.
Sheldon, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 440737. I missed that one on the WhatsApp. Yeah, I got the WhatsApp working now. 440737. And I'm seeing a message here on the WhatsApp. I buy chicken legs, turkey, and wings every day. Wings was 105, now is 120. Turkey was 95, now 160. Legs was 95, now is 140. Well, oh my goodness. I'm also seeing another message on my personal WhatsApp. Yeah, no. Let me see. Chicken went up. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So who did the $5 million that the Prime Minister speak about? Did it go to you? Did it go to me? Did it go to us, the Grenadian people? Or were the only people who benefited from that the business people? Because they didn't pass it on to us. I haven't been seeing prices going down. I've been seeing prices going the other direction. We have a caller online. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Sheldon Scott.
Hi, how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right for the time being.
All right, you go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Scott. What that gentleman said there, the last gentleman that spoke there, I tend to agree with him a lot, you know. If you have $2,000 and you're getting one now and you're getting one later on, it's very hard to manage it. Pay bills and to run your home. Very hard to manage it. It's not a lie.
Yeah,
but
I'm saying
practical truth. I have experienced it myself.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think that some a period of time needed to be had so that people would understand. I'm not saying that the bi-monthly payments will not work. I'm not saying that.
Payment,
Yeah.
But I'm saying that it is very harder to manage that.
Mm-hmm.
I have been fortnightly, I've been monthly paid, and so I have a basic understanding of it. You have to be a real person who could understand, who could save or manage your money in that respect. It's very, very hard to manage if you can manage money. With the volume of money. If you see, you should be getting at least $3,000-4,000 a month. That is for countries that are getting that. But with a man getting $2,000 or $1,000 and something dollars, and you're getting that in two splits, it's very, very hard to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I was not impressed, although I didn't hear the press conference today. I only got a little piece in the news. Well, I didn't hear the press conference. But based on what I heard the Prime Minister say, the reason why he gave up the ministry is for him to spend more time in other ministries, to learn about other ministries. Now, that's a tomfoolery. And I say that openly. The Prime Minister is prime. The Prime Minister can sit in any ministry at any time he wants. He can sit in. He can say, okay, this week I'll be going across. I'll be working with the Ministry of Agriculture to see how they do their programs, how they do this and whatnot. Next week I'll be working in the Ministry of Health. The Prime Minister have the right, the prerogative to do that. So the Prime Minister will have to, after 9 months, give up Ministry of Finance to somebody else to see how, to go into our next ministry to see how it's working. If the Prime Minister wants to get records of any ministry, he can call in the minister or the permanent secretary of any ministry and say, look, let me see some documents, work with me for this week. That's the Prime Minister prerogative.
But Clifford, outside of that, all ministers go to cabinet.
Right.
So everybody in cabinet is aware of some of the taking place in another's ministry.
Giving up there is a vague one. I don't take it. The Prime Minister have to be able to manage. For that matter, there are countries where the Prime Minister don't have any ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You overlook the ministry. In Nigeria days, we had a minister called Minister without Portfolio. In Mr. Tillman days, we had a person that was selected as senator who had no portfolio. You remember the Dr. Pemba Brigboy?
Yes, I remember Doc, yeah.
Right? She didn't have any portfolio. So she could sit in. If the Prime Minister wanted, he could sit her in. And you know what? You remember what he did to her? He sent her up to give my man from Guam the position to run for election.
Mm-hmm.
Made him a senator. So the Prime Minister have power. The Prime Minister have power that he could use. And what we're seeing happening is that this Prime Minister start to use the powers. Using the powers.
I'll explain something in relation to that in a little while, though.
If you remember, the second time that Prime Minister Gonzal came in power, he said the Prime Ministers have too much power. The Caribbean Prime Ministers have too much power. But what happened? He's in power. He's going for his fifth term now. And he still have not give up any power. There's a case hanging within he and the opposition for years. And he's still in power. And he still intend to go back. So the Prime Minister, I don't like this statement. I don't like what he said about for him to be able to have a better force. And yes, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have a force of all the ministries. But that, as you said, cabinet can report. When cabinet meet, they report into the Prime Minister. You know? The Prime Minister is the head of the cabinet. So when cabinet report, they report into him. So if the Prime Minister in that side with our ministries operating, he can ask in the cabinet for that minister to give him documentation.
Well, let me explain something to you, Clifford. And it's a point I was about to delve into. I was waiting until about 9:30 to delve into it. But since you raised the issue of the Prime Minister and the portfolio change, you understand that the Prime Minister is now the minister who has responsibility for public utilities. Yeah?
Yeah.
You understand that Grenlec is under public utilities.
Yes.
You understand that there's an intention to sell Grenlec.
I heard so.
So you realize that that is the main reason the Prime Minister went into that ministry and take that ministry for himself. He is now the Minister of Public Utilities. He is the minister that can just do an SRO for certain things. Other things he must take to Parliament in relation to the operations of Grenlec, you know. The same individual who was the lawyer that represented WRB against the government of Grenada when the Grenlec issue came up. The same person was the lawyer for WRB, is now the minister in charge of Grenlec. And they have stated, and I'm going to put it up on the screen, that's to show you how it was the issue that I was about to raise. This that I've just put up on the screen there is from Budget 2023, Section 6.3 and financing of the budget. And it says various things there, including the part that I've highlighted. Other sources, drawdown from the Consolidated Revenue Fund and disposal of assets. They've said it in the budget that they are going to dispose assets in order to make up some 96.2 million, yeah?
Well,
based on the foregoing, to make up that 96.2.
Mr. Andrew in Grenville said that the bill, they have to hurry up with the bill so that they can get access to some funding they have, you know.
Well, let me let you in on something else. The recently appointed envoy for investment and so on. The person who is the envoy for investment, in other words, to find people who are willing to spend in businesses here, given a diplomatic passport and so, is on the board of directors of Grenlec. So you understand where this thing going?
Well, they
gave her a red passport.
Put some money into agriculture because so far I'm hearing a lot of talk about agriculture from the minister and from mostly every sector. But I'm not seeing any action put into agriculture. So I will be hoping. I personally would like to hold a conversation with the Prime Minister because I'm hoping that they could put more emphasis into agriculture.
Okay.
So I'm hoping. I'm really, really hoping because there's a lot of talk about agriculture. And I am hearing St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Barbados, all of them not only talking agriculture, but they are into agriculture. So I'm hoping that I could see the Prime Minister interceding into the other ministries because he can summon a minister to him at any time. You don't have to go into any ministry to spend 9 months at home. He can summon any minister into him. He can move ministers. That's the prerogative of the Prime Minister. Thank you.
All right, my brother. Yeah, so as I was telling you all, the now envoy on behalf of the government of Grenada, the envoy, right? That individual that individual, I'm just trying to get it here properly because how I had it a while ago, you all were not seeing that. But let me see if I've got it sorted out now properly so that you will be able to see. Yeah. On the right hand side, the name that's at the top there, Miss Andrea St. Bernard, who is now an envoy. She's going to be out there looking for investors for the island of Grenada, and we wish her best in her endeavors. Is also sitting on the Grenlec board, and we've seen, I've shown you from the budget statement made by the Prime Minister that they are looking to, and I don't know why this is showing like this. I'm not sure. Oh yes, it is showing properly. It's my screen that was off. Yeah, but Miss St. Bernard is a director on the board of directors of Grenlec, unless that has changed since I don't know, because 1 minute she was in CES, next minute she on the board of directors at Grenlec and them different things like that. Now she's an envoy on behalf of the government. Like, they can't find much people to place in things, so there's how to place some of the same people all over. And remember, she's also the treasurer of the NDC. She's the treasurer of the National Democratic Congress, and she's an envoy, so she's a red passport carrying diplomatic representative of the state of Grenada, who is going to be going out there and trying to find people to invest in things. I am wondering if logically it cannot be drawn that she may be looking for a buyer for Grenlec. One of the individuals looking for a buyer for Grenlec. All I'm going to say is, in whatever all you're doing, just make sure all you do it in the right way, because yeah, just make sure you do it in the right way so that no buyer will come for Grenlec. I'm not saying this is what is happening. I'm saying that the possibilities are there, because next thing you know, a buyer come for Grenlec, and the person who bring the buyer for Grenlec is also the treasurer of the NDC. So we don't know what could happen there. All I'm saying is things could happen. You understand? Things can happen. But remember, it's not me that tell you that. Yeah, the budget document said disposal of assets. That's what they spoke about. Disposal of assets. You're seeing it there. Yeah, section 6.3, financing of the 2023 budget. And when you look at the third bullet point, it said other sources. Yeah, disposal of assets. In other words, selling assets. What assets do we have that we can sell that would be able to help finance the budget? So it's obviously that Grenlec, in my humble view, is on the chopping block to go. That's how I view it. And to see that the Prime Minister, outside of I'm going to say something that I can't say on radio earlier, but in other words, outside of setting up Mr. Cornwall, at the same time, he makes sure he's in charge of the ministry where Grenlec is. He is not just the Prime Minister now, he's also Grenlec boss. Yeah, because he's the minister. So the regulations, and a minister can do some regulations without having to go to Parliament, just as we publish in the Gazette and so on. So some of the regulations in relation to electricity supply and Grenlec and so on can now be done by none other than Mr. Deacon Mitchell, who was also the lawyer that represented WRB, the Florida-based company that took the government of Grenada to court in relation to the Grenlec issue, because Grenada decided that we would change our electricity supply act here to give Grenadians more benefits when it comes to the electricity system. Yeah? Because look, you have the Public Utility Regulatory Commission. You have them. These are the members of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, as published in the Government Gazette. I think that was in November of last year. I think so. Yeah, and these individuals are holding this office for a 1 year period, which has me suspicious again of, because in the 2023 budget, I'm seeing the disposal of assets, and I'm seeing that these members of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, who oversees companies like Nawasa and Grenlec, etc., Now that I'm seeing that these individuals are only there for 1 year as of the 15th of November, and I'm wondering if they are just there for a particular period for a particular reason, and then you get some other people also. Yeah? So I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating, but it's a fact that Mr. Deacon Mitchell was the lawyer of WRB, isn't it? It's a fact that he was the lawyer of WRB. It's also a fact that he is now the minister with responsibility for public utilities, under whose watch Grenlec now falls. Yeah? So it's a fact. And I'd say, in other words, it gives me cause for pause. It gives me some cause for pause. You know, sometimes you just have to play a little show with this. Yeah, cause for pause, you know. This tune bad for years, you know. Yeah. Old people ever say, no, Tom drunk, Tom no fool? Yeah, Tom drunk, Tom no fool, yeah. So if you benefit from the 5 million, raise your hand. Let me say a good night to you, Durity.
This carnival time I come out to party. I drinking rum and I drinking whiskey. Plenty people go feel like crazy. I jamming Jonah and Nelly.
Some people call it name there who benefit from it. All you want me go me all you want.
In the dance all I whining anywhere in this country.
And as I see the name Andy Williams, please, Brother Williams, the fishermen them down in the lagoon, they want to see you, brother. They want to. I don't know if you go down there and see them today. I haven't been in contact for the day. I've been kind of out and around, today. So I ain't get a chance to find out. But the fishermen on the lagoon, who you had promised that they would move, I thought you had to talk about that. I know, well, I mean, somebody would have tell you thing one. So, I mean, But while I'm laughing, it's no laughing matter. This is the livelihood of people, especially some of these guys. Remember, traditionally, they've had boats in that lagoon area since the 1970s and so on. Now you're telling them to take those boats and put it over in Grand Mall. We have a call online. Good night. Oh, wrong one. Yeah. Hello, good night.
Yes, good night. And I first must say good night to all Talking Point listeners. And I have one point to make.
Okay.
I find it strange why the journalists didn't seize that opportunity to ask the questions concerning all the recent allegations about the ministers and money. And I think it's not fair enough for us. So much is happening that we only stick on one topic. That's my part.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Yeah, I think opportunity was lost in relation to some of the questions. But remember, in all fairness to some of the journalists, they are limited to 2 questions at a time. And there may be something that is said in response that they may ask a follow-up on. But I think more opportunities need to be given to the journalists so that they can ask questions. Yeah, more opportunities. I have to find out what happened with Kalisha. I thought I'd have seen Kalisha there. I thought I'd have seen her there today or so. Or heard Dr. Bob, but I realized that both of them, they did not make it to the press conference either. Even virtually, they hadn't made it to the press conference, and I'm wondering why. Because there are lots of questions to ask. Again, I have questions like, is Mr. Orlando Romain receiving multiple salaries, and what are the salaries that he is receiving? I have those questions. And somebody's asking me why Grand Mall, but that's what some of them are being told, that they need to go to Grand Mall. We have a call online. Good night. Hello.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hi. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Yes, ma'am. You're live.
Yes, I'm listening to the conversation there, and I just have a memory of a video that was circulated before the election about the same Deacon Mitchell with the same the lady, the St. Bernard woman with the white man about Grenada for sale and with Grenlec and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the video right now. I listen to what you're saying. I see everything adding up. With Andrea
Well,
St. Bernard and everything. She will be the treasurer and everything. No, she's treasurer and all them things. So the video is something that was supposed to happen because I see it happening now.
well, she's a trade envoy, I believe, or investment envoy or something like that. And outside of that, she's now diplomatic. She has her diplomatic passport to go in and out and so on. And she's on the board of directors of Grenlec. She has been involved in the CES, but remember, she's also the treasurer of the NDC. So I don't know, maybe some company might be grateful if they get the opportunity to buy Grenlec if she speaks to them, and we never know. Because remember, she's the treasurer of the NDC. I don't say she do anything wrong. I don't say she go in and do anything wrong. I'm just saying some company might be grateful. You never know.
Yes, but why they don't want the Grenada to have anything? Why, when the NMP get it back to our hands, they want to sell it again? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why they're doing such thing? Why we can't own anything? Why? And they complain about NMP selling everything, and now look at what they want to do. I have a serious question to ask. I want to ask the opposition leader, which is my prime minister, and I want to ask the Governor General, and who else is involved. We don't taking a serious look at what is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And why they cannot do something to dissolve this government? They need to be dissolved. What they waiting for?
I will tell you now that you will be hearing from the opposition leader next week. You will be hearing from him.
Those people are not able to do nothing good for the country. They're spoiling everything. They need to get out of there. I'm tired. When you want that news so long, you can't even stop on that news. You're getting fed up, people dying, heartbreak, stress. They need to get people out of there. I don't know what, I find this is ridiculous now. Really.
All right, my
anyway,
dear.
thank you.
You have a good night.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, let me just make sure I have it clear. Yeah, 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Yeah. Boy, you can't say, well, what some of these guys and them saying, Papa, you are say all you want to put in prop. Hannah, you want the video? Don't worry, I'll get the video to you, my dear. Yeah, I know to find you. I'll get the video to you. All right? Nice. I think we have a caller on the WhatsApp. Hello, good night.
Good night again, sir.
Yes, sir. You go right ahead, man. Mm-hmm.
I hope I call in good time.
Yeah, it's good time, man. Yeah.
I could talk for a whole day relative to a whole lot of issues, eh?
Yeah, but 5 minutes again, eh?
I'm not a participant. You should know by now, or if you're listening every time I talk, not only on that program, you'll hear me a whole lot on other programs. And to whatever extent there are needs for analysis and introspective analysis especially, I have a serious problem with journalists in this country are not doing it. I'm an analyst by nature. I don't care to hoot about whether who is the prime minister or not. But I'll make my favorite to be Kit Mitchell, period. Even though that might be considered as a party program. That's not my problem. Kit Mitchell is simply the best in the world. Period.
That's a fact.
No, that's an exaggeration, but too bad for it, right? Let's leave it there. My favorite boy, I love him. They don't say nowadays I look like him, maybe I'm behaving like him and whatever. I don't know what that means. Honestly, a few people tell me that in recent weeks, first time they see me, but you look like Kid Mitchell, you behave like Kid Mitchell, whatever. Only thing you don't walk like him. But anyway, the understanding is there. A genius is among us. I made mention, I wrote an article relative to that subject matter that said, and I make it plain and I have no apology to anybody, Kid Mitchell is a genius among us to the extent that he's making more sense than all the others put together. Period. And it still remains. Let's leave that aside, right? That's not the subject matter right now. You see that Grand Lake issue?
Mm-hmm.
About a year and 9 months before they sold Grand Lake, I wrote an article that became a subject matter in this country, to the extent that there was a forum held to discuss that particular subject matter based on the article that I wrote. Watch me. The biggest mistake that this country ended up having, and we're still feeling the effect of it, was the selling of Grand Lake by the same NDC party. I don't care about the parties, ain't careful about that. But the dumb idiots that are part of this process in this country consistently has shown up all the time. And there has never been a balance or equilibrium to the extent that they could exonerate themselves. That's where the problem is. I'm an analyst, I'm talking here now. So listen what I'm showing up here. In the process of dealing with issues, there's that cloud that shows up in the minds of people who limit themselves to the NDC. I'm not a party person, careful about that. Mm-hmm. So when the NDC mentality is a philosophical issue that has its base, maybe a psychological to an extent too, Okay, it's a psychological for sure. But I don't want to claim to be a psychologist. I like when my good partner, anyway, you know, maybe all you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a problem with what is showing up nowadays. And he has been explaining a few things that I agree with him so much. You don't know me, I don't know him. There's no friendship relative to that kind of thing. So I'm talking about it analytically, to the extent that he has had to say so much of the things that I've been saying. Here we have a problem. The Prime Minister comes on explaining things to people. For example, the issue of the 2019 situation with the
freight.
The freight. No reflection. In the case of the banking issue, careful about that. What need to be, and this is why I don't want to have a criticism for, when it comes to the freight, out of the question. Dumb and senseless. It is out of the question, right? That's a lie. It's a pretentious piece of crap that they're coming up with now. Because I've been there, done this, deal with the issue over and over. I'm not only on this program, I dealt with it on another program. So, but the case with the banking issue, careful with that. What the government now need to do is relate reflectively to the policies that need to control the banking. Bank has been controlling people's life in this country, you know. Not only here, maybe in other countries, I should say. I say maybe, sorry. I say not only here, but then I say maybe. That's a contradiction in a sense of the word. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really surprised if it is consistent, because the banking process, in our evidence, in Greener evidence, need to be adjusted to the extent that the government determine what the bank's policy should be. Not the bank determine what monetary processing has to be, because the thing is that money speaks for itself. So I own $1 million. What should I do with it? The bank tell me what I should do with it. The government has the process to determine that the money should be dealt with in a certain way, spent a certain way. Watch me. When you go to a bank with $1 million, you own $1 million. If the government say that you shouldn't have $1 million, then you shouldn't have $1 million. Not the bank telling you should have $1 million. So, in the process of dealing with such an issue, what they need to do is tell the bank, or the bank need to understand legally, that you have a situation that people need to put their money in the bank for it to function.
All right, and Paula, we had to wrap it in. We had to wrap it in the next minute.
You have $1 million. You have $1 million, and you have to go and explain to the bank how you get $1 million.
Yeah, because once it's over a certain amount, they're making you put in a thing, and you have to say where you get it and so.
Government, But the government has created that problem to the extent that they need to resolve it with the bank. That's the point I'm making to quite an extent now. If the bank has to receive money, the bank needs to understand that the money was collected by your activity, whatever activity. The government now has a legal responsibility to say that you cannot collect money that way. So what's the problem then? It's not the bank and it's not the government. The problem is a resolution between the bank and the government. If you know what I'm saying, an equilibrium has to be met. So when, for example, you all started talking about the issue of the bank now having talked with the government. And I use the word talked, which I don't know if that's a good word to say.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to wrap it now, caller, because as it's 10, I just have to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. If the bank has to accept your money, what needs to happen is that there need to be an agreement. This is what I said. I was wondering if there was an agreement between the bank and the government in a given situation with the monthly or the bi-monthly payment.
And that's an important point to make. That's a very important point to make. Whether there's an agreement or just
the agreement and whatever should happen should happen.
Okay.
But the bank and the government creating a confusion. But the bank is more creating a confusion, so the government has to now regulate it. This is what I'm pointing out. The bank and the government has the authority to regulate. And given that Mr. Timothy Antoine has made a comment relative that the bank has been creating a problem for people to save their money and bank their money, so the process of payment wouldn't be equalized.
Okay, but caller, we've got to end it. We've got to end it here. All right. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Take care.
Yes, folks, because we're into the final few minutes of tonight's program. So yeah, we're gonna have to end it there with the caller. But caller, you could call back at any day when we have. Yeah, you could call back any night when we had a program. But I'm gonna tell you this though. Well, no, not in relation to the caller, but back on an issue that I was speaking about before, because one or two people have messaged me since on it. Because some people didn't hear fully what I was speaking about last night. There is the situation that the fishermen who operate out of the Lagoon Road and also those on the Carenage have been told that they have to relocate. Yeah, find a cove and go to that they have to relocate. Last night, one of our last few callers, I think it was the last caller, spoke of the fact of them being in the lagoon since 1974. They've had their boat there and they would usually pull their boat up and do the work and think, okay, they've been told they can't do that on the lagoon again. They have to do it over in Grand Mall, but the guys in Grand Mall, they clean up regular and they do whatever they have to do and so and keep the place at a certain level. I think it's every month or so they do a clean up and different things in Grand Mall. So I think some sort of friction is taking place. The guys themselves, the fishermen on the Lagoon Road, they are very upset. Those who are on the Karani James Boulevard / Lagoon Road, they are very upset over the promise that was made to them that they would be able to remain there. No, not those rotten boats and thing that was there. Yeah, them had to move. Right? You had to move them whole boat and them that was on the them thing had to move. But the fishermen, the people who actually use their boat, some of them living in Springs, Woodlands, and so, not Woodlands, but Belmont and so on, Jean Anglais and so their boat is down there, they just come down and they go about their business and so and they come back in. Now you're telling them they have to take the boat over to places like Grand Mall, where they have to go and take a bus and go in town and then take a next bus and go across there to check on the boat. Or they might have to bring it down in Calisto or wherever. Yeah? I don't even know if Pandy is a possibility, because I don't know if how many of them might be able to fit it down in Pandy and if there's a possibility for them to bring their boats and so on. But this is the situation with them. They are upset over it. It is a problem. They've been trying to see the minister on it, but the minister of MIT has gone MIA, so they are unable to find him to have that conversation in relation to the issue. Yeah? So that's the next one. All right, folks, and as I said, we're quickly running out of time tonight. Yeah, my friend, good night to you, bro. Yeah, quickly running out of time tonight. But just to remind you, the Prime Minister is now the Minister in charge of Grenlec. The same Prime Minister who was the lawyer on behalf of WRB against the government and people of Grenada on the Grenlec issue. They tried to give the impression that it was just against the government. The government represents you, so it was against the government and people of Grenada with Grenlec. Yeah? Grenlec enforced their buyback clause, and the government of Grenada bought back Grenlec under the new National Party. And we've already heard several statements by the present Prime Minister in relation to Grenlec. So do not be surprised when you hear that Grenlec for sale or has been sold. Because the way that this government is operating, you're hearing things after the fact, or unless we come and we tell you the information here. So whether it's the Labour Commissioner get fired and that to run and have a press conference the next morning, or whether it's a situation where we tell you what is going on in relation to contracts being offered to ex-MPs and sycophants of the National Democratic Congress for 4,500 and etc. going up there, or whether it is us that has to come and tell you, Dr. Sean Charles had to come today to talk about the respiratory problems and so on. We, on this program, told you about that several weeks ago. We told you to be careful because we told you that there are different viruses that are in circulation and therefore you should be safe and try to safeguard yourself. We did do that several weeks ago. If they were having press conferences on a regular basis, that information could have been forthcoming quite a while ago. But no, because they've been hiding and ducking, then that information has to come out now, weeks after we told you that on this program. So whether it's the Spice Mart CEO gone, we don't tell you them thing. Not the present one, the one before, right? We are usually the ones who come and tell you that from on Talking Points. And we'll continue to provide the information to you. If the government don't want to provide the information, that's their problem. You have a right to know, and we're going to ensure that your right is respected and ensure that you know. And ensure that we continue to give you the information. As I mentioned, next week, you're going to be having Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be on next week. So look forward to that. We're going to be sending out more information on that over the next couple of days so that you'll know where to tune in, when to tune in, everything. All right? So we're going to be sending information to you. So you will be hearing him speaking on the different issues and so on. And there are several other things that are coming up that we will be giving you some more information in relation to on Talking Points on a nightly basis. So folks, we're saying a special glorious Grenadian good night and thank you to each and every one of you. It's been wonderful being here with you. In everything you say and do it safe and secure because I want to be speaking to you and with you and not about you. You know, it have a program, a song I play for a long time. Let me touch this song, because I think this song kind of covers how a lot of people going through these days. My name is Sheldon Scott. I am out.
Avoidance committee call yesterday. Yeah, a role they want me to play. Consumption of alcohol gets so high. They want me find out the reason why. Check every rum shop in the country. Talk to every rum scene that I see. It was only then that I discovered Grenadians living under immense pressure. The farmer said he working from 6 to 6 year after year. He can make a small profit, bed and powder his banana. Would I have to get a little dollar? Watch the price they paying for mess to study not make now. Is one big western vegetables they tiffin all. So he taking revenge on the alcohol. He say he mixing it. The farmer say he mixing it. Anytime he take a drink a glass coat like he have Mr. Gibbs up by his throat, so he's squeezing it. The farmer say he's squeezing it. He takes spicy jack and he overload. Feel like he mash up the whole damn nutmeg board, so he bonging it. The farmer say he bonging it. Farmer Brown, you take it easy. That can't help the farming industry. You could hold your head and ball, but don't take it out on the alcohol. say you talking rum consumption, you have to talk to a policeman. So I bounce up one inside the city and decide to have a chit chat with him. He said the police force is a mess, fellas operating under duress. The canteen is the most exciting, so inside they all them police staying. You want duty, civilians assaulting you, raise your hand, commissioner will fire you. But if you want to get promotion, you just have to go to church with the man. The public say we burn the passport office, but I know the police won't do what in like this. They have grievance, yes it is that way. But it's the alcohol that does pay for it. He said they're mixing it. The police say they're mixing it. Anytime if I hear one of them wrongly, Lord have mercy upon the back of the cause they're killing it. The police say they're killing it. They walk night without gun, they walk with fear. The only thing they could shoot is like a beer, so they're killing it. The police say they're killing it. Officer, you should know better. That could raise your pressure and damage your liver. Though you hold drug barons in vain, don't take it out on the alcohol again. The police say alcohol getting a bad name, and it's the young people are to blame. I had a chat with the youths of today, curious to hear what they have to say. They say frustration killing me, the place filled with lack of opportunity. Those are the politicians, all of them is fool. None of them really care about young people. We graduate, no employment for we. Anything we pass, they calling us lazy. Hate we hairstyle, condemn we passion. They making us feel we are subhuman. And sometimes we just want to bomb down the place when we see your skills and talent going to waste. But we would not do that at all. We just take it out on the alcohol. They say we're mixing it. The youth say they're mixing it. To get a job, you're spinning them wrong.